Okay, waiting for people to join now. Let's see how this goes. Speaking to you. So how about Bach flower? Love, love. Ooh. Hi, Aisha. You are clearly the first person to join this live. Waiting for Soha to join this now so we can start this live. Hi, Soha. I see you. Hi, Aisha. Okay. Hi, Soha.
Yeah. Hi, hi. Hi,
How are
Bhav.
you?
I'm good. Oh, you're in a
Can you
very
see me?
noisy place.
Yeah, I am just, as I'm actually in Jaipur. I came here for work
Okay.
and it's crazy. But can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm
How's it
good.
going?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, Soha. I have to tell you that the number of people who've contacted me after seeing your episode and the
Okay.
people who've asked me if you do bark flower for human
Hmm.
beings is I could make a list and just
Oh my
keep
God.
sending it to you constantly. And
Okay.
I know that we left the episode on this note, and I think
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up the live from that point
Okay.
to ask you that are you now finally ready to do bark flower for human beings?
Okay. So surprisingly, Bhav, when I was watching the episode, I realized that I was already into it with the humans.
Right,
So I mean, I had already started the journey. So only thing is, I mean, never, as you say, mentioned in the episode, never say never.
right.
So I guess, yeah, me too. I've received a lot of messages for human sessions too. But I don't know. Let's see if I need to start that seriously now.
I think it's a calling that you I don't think you can deny any longer because
Hmm.
now people are now starting to wake up to bark flower.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so my thing is, I the first question I'd like to ask you today
Hmm.
is for somebody again, somebody who's watched the episode but is still unsure of if Bach flower is for them, not for them. Should they try it? Should they not try it? What could you
Hmm.
tell them?
So again, it's something which is, you just have to believe in the process. The problem with certain, I mean, alternative medicines is that you don't tend to believe in it first. You want to hear stories from others first, and then that's when you kind of, oh acha, it's affected this person in this way, so maybe it's a good therapy to get into. But I just feel that if you try it out on yourself,
Right,
you might just find it easier to digest. I mean, the concept is easier to digest once you accept it.
right, right,
So it's not at all. It's like homeopathy, Bhav. Most of the times, like for me, also, I took a long time to get into. Like many people have suggested that why don't you try homeopathy for this particular illness or whatever, some kind of a chronic ailment. But as I mentioned earlier, also I do believe in allopathy a lot. So I took a
right.
long time to get into homeopathy and to believe that it does take its time, but once you are in it and once you start believing in that process, things start working magically. So
Correct.
it's the
Also,
same with bachelor.
since you mentioned homeopathy, Soha,
Hmm.
in homeopathy, I know that before you start getting better, because all the symptoms start enhancing and
Yeah,
coming up, they say you actually start, you feel worse and then you start feeling better.
correct.
Is that the case with batch flower as well?
Bachelor, yeah.
Like batch flower, yeah.
uh,
Like I remembered you correcting me. Like is that the thing with batch flower as well? That does it bring up a lot of other emotions or traits or fundamental patterns before it gets better?
Uh, so it depends from person to person. So like we even mentioned in the interview, the onion peel which I was talking about. So if my core issue is a childhood trauma, and if I'm dealing with the confidence issue right now with Bachelor, it will work either in a positive way or a negative, not a negative way, but it might take time to reach to the core of the problem.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it does have, I'm sure uh, I, as far as I know, it's never had a negative impact. Like
Right.
suddenly someone has started screaming or something, those things haven't happened.
Right.
It's definitely always a positive impact, but whether it's worked on that particular emotion or not is something which one has to understand, and then that's why the process also takes longer. For instance,
Correct.
if you have to reach to that core emotion, it does take longer. But yes, there are effects. Sometimes you, by consuming it, you might just feel too, like elated about certain things. So that is something which the levels are different for each person.
And you have to be conscious about these things. You have to be conscious that
Yeah.
I'm feeling very elated. This is not the regular me. Hence, it's a batch flower
Correct.
effect. Like
Correct.
it.
And also, if you kind of identify if you're feeling extremely elated after or extremely positive after consuming the dose, it's good if you interact with the therapist at that point. So
Right.
that therapist also can give you a view that no, this is the right way to kind of tackle with. This you're on the right path. So
Right.
again, just to mention this, though I also practice bachelor, uh, I consult another bachelor therapist for this, who is now coincidentally your next speaker, Geeta Dimri.
Gita.
Yeah.
Yes.
So every time I have to kind of this thing, I cross check with her that this is what I'm going through and
Right.
what should I do, and then she kind of gives me a view. So it's not that everyone can, kind of, she can give me an objective view also, which is a great thing.
Right. Since you
So,
mentioned that, I'm going to
hmm.
shamelessly plug in the new episode
Oh,
and say
like
that, guys,
nice.
we
Yes.
have just today released an episode, the next episode of Soul Suffer with Bhav, which talks about pranic healing with
Yeah.
Geeta, who does pranic healing, who does Bajfla, and please go watch it. And after you watch Soha's episode and you watch this episode, it's just that every episode just enhances or widens your perspective a little bit more about healing modalities. Please go watch it. Please, if you haven't watched Soha's episode, watch Soha's episode as well. But yeah, I know Geeta does batch flower
Yeah.
as well. And I have another. Before I ask you the next question, Soha,
Hmm.
I'm sure that when people come to you, they come with a lot of preconceived notions, or maybe let's call them a myth, or let's call it any sort of a just a big question mark in their head.
Yeah.
I want to take the opportunity of this live to address that. So, is there anything you want to address to people that that this is like a FAQ, or this
Yeah.
is a preconceived notion that most people come to me with? Would you want to address that right now?
So basically, Bhav, like in every therapy, sometimes, I mean, if you are open to therapy or if you're open to heal yourself, that's when you actually approach therapists or, counselors, or you want to get into a different, you want to try out a different modality.
Correct.
Uh, what happens with, or it might happen with me too, though I know about bachelor, I might, before even, if you are a bachelor therapist and if I'm telling you my problem, I might kind of, like it's like a cushioning which you give before you kind of approach the subject. For instance, I
Right.
would say that everything's okay, it's just that sometimes I can't focus on work. So that's a very minor trait which you kind, I mean, that's an outcome of what is actually going on inside you. So when you
Correct.
say I can't focus on work, so I just need something, which, I can just focus on work. So
Right.
it's not so simple. That means if you can't focus on work, there are so many layers behind that, because
Correct.
of which you reached this level where right now you can't focus on work. The one, I mean, that is something which you really want to heal. That is one emotion you want to kind of heal.
Soha, I want to take this opportunity because you mentioned this to
Hmm.
say it to whoever's on this line that there's nothing like a small or big symptom. A symptom is a symptom and it's going to lead you down a path of some sort of healing. So, like you said, some people be like, I'm just not being able to focus at work. It's not a just,
Yeah.
it's a thing, it's something unresolved which needs to be looked at, and it'll lead you down some road of healing. So it's great that you brought it up, and I want people to remember that we sometimes just write off certain things as it's just this.
Yeah.
Nothing is just anything.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
very
Correct.
important to remember.
Correct.
I want to
Hmm.
ask you the next question as an animal communicator,
Hmm.
because I recently communicated with an animal,
Hmm.
and I want to know how do I, like, I know that there is this point that now any behavioral change will not uh, make a
Correct.
positive change.
Hmm.
They need that flower. What is the best way to say it to somebody, so also so that they're not offended?
So, Bhav, actually, the easiest way to get into it is to say that the animal requires a batch flower dose, rather than saying the problem is with the human, because
Okay.
that's what they don't want to hear. So, in
Correct.
fact, it's easier to get into this thing by saying that, okay, let's try this on the animal because maybe that'll, make him calmer or make her, whatever the issue is. The problem is because when we say that it's connected to the human behavior, the
Right.
animal is behaving in a certain way because it's connected to the human behavior. So the human also needs to be healed, and the animal also needs some kind of a some therapy on it, some remedy on it.
Right.
So
Right.
in fact, I don't think it's a big problem to say, because see, as humans we are so conditioned. Problem hai na to hai to haan, now give me some medicine. So it's that kind, it's so easy for us to kind of articulate it in that way,
Correct.
that no, I'm going to an animal communicator because there's an issue with my dog or or my cat. So we've
Right.
already said that there's an issue with the dog or
Issue.
the cat. So
Correct. Correct.
then when the animal communicator is saying that no, you don't need bachelor, the human is like, okay, but there is an issue, so please sort it out, give
Hmm.
him some medication.
Right. Right.
So, in fact, medication is an easier way for the human to
Easier way.
understand that there. Yeah.
But the thing is, the trick, what I'm finding
Hmm.
difficult is to tell them that the dog doesn't need it. It's
Yeah,
you
yeah,
who
yeah, the
needs it.
human. Yeah,
That's
correct.
the tricky part.
That is. But above that is something which we go through.
All the
It's
time.
every client is different.
I
So
got a very
that is.
interesting text
Hmm.
after your episode. So
Hmm.
somebody messaged me saying that please don't make such tall claims that batch flower has no side effects. Everything has a side effect.
Hmm.
You just haven't recognized it yet. And
Okay.
I realized for 2 minutes I got triggered, and I was like, let me say, what does this person mean, and let me respond. And then I said, no, I don't need to
Yeah.
respond. I
Correct.
knew our life was going to happen,
Hmm.
and I wanted to address this
Hmm.
because most people find it so unbelievable that
Hmm.
something doesn't have a side effect.
Correct.
And it's great that even Nina mentioned it right now
Hmm.
on the live, saying
Oh.
that
Okay.
Bachelor has no side effects, so it's safe to try. What would you
Hmm.
like to say to something like that?
So, side effect is also a very subjective word in a way, because if I'm consuming batch flour, a dose, and I say that it's making me feel extremely confident, and it's making me feel that as if I'm owning the world, and that is making me even a bit rude with people.
Rude.
Yeah, so confidence can give, I mean, it can kind of boost your
Yeah, yeah,
morale,
yeah, yeah. I know what
and
you mean. Yeah.
you might sound extremely assertive, and that person might think that, oh my god, what has happened to him or her, why is he
Correct.
being so rude.
Correct.
So
Correct. Correct. I know what you
that
mean.
is a side effect, I would say. That could be a side effect. So let then
Okay.
then we can call that a side effect. That could
But
be to improve the personality, But at that point, as I mentioned, that the levels are different, how the bachelor is going to affect that human. So it can be considered as a side effect. Not that there's going to be some kind of an inflammation on the face or
You
something
know
like that.
what
No,
that
no, no, no.
what this sounds to me, Soha, sounds
Hmm.
like to me, Soha, that when you make a change, everybody around you, because they're used
Yes,
to dealing with you a certain way, they completely is shaken up because they're not used to you saying no. They're
true.
not used to you being confident. They're not used to you drawing boundaries. So it's a subjective side effect.
Correct.
You know,
Agree.
of course, when I start feeling confident, I may cross a line and be like, I can conquer the world right now. That is a side
Hmm.
effect inside of me.
Hmm.
But I've also noticed that whenever you make a change, most people uh, get very shaken up because they're not used to this version of you. They're
Correct.
not used to you
Correct.
sometimes standing up for what you think is right for you.
Correct.
You know,
So
so
a
that
submissive personality can maybe gain confidence through the bachelor remedy.
correct,
Uh, as you mentioned, the people around that person has always seen this person as submissive and being bullied all the time. Today, if that person is taking a stand, uh, there is some kind of a there's some effect which the bachelor remedy has had on that person.
correct,
The surroundings, the people around him might think that this is the side effect. So
right,
I would actually see it that way.
right, right. Also, for people who live in Bombay or any other metro cities,
Hmm.
is it easy for them to get these batch flower drops and remedies? Is it easily accessible, or can they get it online, or how can they go about it if it's not?
Yeah, they can definitely. So now I think bachelor remedies are available at many stores, medical stores also,
Oh,
homeopathy
really?
stores. Yeah,
Oh,
homeopathy
wow.
stores, and you might find them on Amazon as well. Only thing they're
Okay.
a bit expensive on Amazon because depending on, so there are these brands which you kind of, there are certain brands which you can I mean, area specific.
Okay.
So the brand which I cater to, it's usually somewhere close by to my house. There's one homeopathy store from where I kind of get the drops. So
Okay.
it depends on, but it's easily available. You can just
Okay.
type in. Only thing which bachelor remedy to consume is something which the
Yeah.
expert can kind of get into that the
I was just going to
details.
give that
Yeah.
disclaimer that please don't read up on Google
Yeah.
and just think that you can pick up any remedy, because it's very, very important
Except
to
for, yeah, sorry to interrupt you, except for the
rescue remedy.
rescue remedy which I had mentioned. So
Yeah, which
that
you
is the
mentioned on
only,
the show.
yeah, that is the only,
Yeah. But I would really, whoever's hearing, I'd really like to tell them that please get in touch with an expert and don't just read up on Google and try and self-medicate, because just because something doesn't have side effects, it also means that you're not going to get the desired effect.
hmm.
So just please read up, and it's very, very important. Please get in touch with Soha or any other bachelor therapist that you know, because it's very important to do that. Uh, yeah, carefully. Sorry, somebody has. Oh, Geeta has. Hi, Geeta. I'm so glad you're here. Geeta is saying batch is flower essence because it is pure
Correct.
extract kept under homeopathy, but it is remedy holding that flower energy. Flowers cannot harm. In fact, it keeps the negative energy at bay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're so right. You're so right, Geeta. It's absolutely right. That's why for every good work
Hmm.
we decorate with flowers.
Decorate.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. So yeah, that's a great tip. Soha, before we end this, is there anything about batch flower that you would like to address with the with people who are online today?
Uh, I think I just feel that let's accept what is there and not doubt ourselves before getting into it. The most important thing is that if you really feel that there is a need to heal, there are these modalities available, and we should just, so it's each one's spiritual journey. So I just feel that accepting it and getting onto it is the best healing process.
Correct. I
So yeah,
completely agree. I'm just like, when you know that you need to be healed, the modality will reach you. Just
yeah.
and it's also very human to have resistance to change. It's
Hmm.
very human to doubt. So don't judge yourself when you're doubting. But we all go through it that whenever you are about to heal, you're just like, oh my God, should
Yeah,
I not? Because it's unfamiliar territory.
correct.
So I'd like to tell everybody that just don't be scared of change, don't be scared to heal, and everything is out there. If you want to try back flower, please don't read up on Google. Reach out to therapists. Please reach out to Soha, so she has no other choice but to do back
Yeah.
flower for human beings. I'm still stuck
And
on that.
for animals, I'll
And
continue.
for animals, yes, animals. So, matlab, you're a magician there. But
Thank you.
yeah, please do it. And thank you so much, Soha, for doing the episode and for helping us put the word out there so much with so much more conviction. Thank you for doing this live, and I'm looking forward to doing so much more with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. And I loved being on your show. So it
Thank
was
you. And it's not
wonderful.
the end. There's lots more to do. So yeah, please do
Yes.
brace yourself. I'm going to keep knocking your door saying, Soha, once more, once more. So we have to do
Sure.
that.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Soha.
Yeah.
Thank